At 19 years old, Ben Francis was delivering pizzas at night and sewing gymwear by hand in his parents' garage by day. Nike had 4,000 employees. Adidas had 60,000. Ben had a sewing machine and 1,200 pounds. 7 years later, he turned down a $1 billion acquisition offer. He was 26 years old, and he'd never taken a single penny of outside investment. This is not a story about luck. It's not a story about timing. It's a story about a teenager in Birmingham who looked at the fitness industry and decided he could do it better, with a sewing machine and the internet. Benjamin Francis grew up in Bromsgrove, Worcestershire, a quiet market town outside Birmingham. He was sporty, competitive, and passionate about fitness from a young age. He started his first business at 11 years old, mowing lawns in his neighborhood. By 14, he was running a greeting card business. The entrepreneurial instinct was always there. When he was in sixth form, he started coding apps. He built a fitness tracking app called Gymshark. Simple, functional, just for tracking workouts. It was the first time he used the name. He went to Aston University to study computer science, but the app wasn't making money. He was watching YouTube fitness channels obsessively and noticing something nobody else had noticed yet. The fitness clothing available was either cheap and ugly or expensive and inaccessible. Serious gym goers had no brand that spoke to them, no brand that looked the way they trained. He decided to make something better. With £1,200 saved from his delivery jobs and birthday money, he bought a sewing machine and a screen printing kit, and moved both into his parents' garage. He taught himself to sew from YouTube tutorials. He taught himself screen printing the same way. Every piece of the first Gymshark collection was made by hand, in that garage by one person. His friends Lewis Morgan and Paul Richardson joined him. Packing, shipping, screen printing. The garage became a production line. Still just kids, still completely self-funded. Ben built a basic Shopify website, listed the products with photos he took himself, then waited. For 6 months, almost nothing happened. He was still delivering pizzas, still studying, going to the garage before university, going back after shifts ended at midnight, running on almost no sleep. Then he had an idea that would change everything. He'd been watching fitness YouTubers for years. What if he sent them free products and asked them to wear Gymshark? This was 2012. Influencer marketing did not exist as a concept. Brand deals did not exist for YouTubers. Ben was doing something nobody in the fitness industry had ever done. One of those YouTubers was Lex Griffin, over 100,000 subscribers. He posted a video wearing Gymshark. In 24 hours, the website crashed from traffic. They sold out everything. Ben quit his pizza delivery job. He dropped out of university. His friends quit their jobs. They moved out of the garage into a small office. The operation was real now. He reinvested every penny back into the company. No salary for himself beyond bare minimum. No holidays, no luxuries, just product, marketing, and growth. He built relationships with every major fitness YouTuber in the UK and then globally. Not just sending products, he flew to meet them. He went to their competitions. He became part of their world. The fitness community didn't just buy Gymshark. They wore it as an identity, a badge. If you were serious about fitness, you wore Gymshark. The brand had created a tribe. 2013, the BodyPower Fitness Expo in Birmingham. Gymshark booked a stand. It was their first ever physical retail presence. They prepared enough stock for 2 days. They sold out in 30 minutes. People queued for hours just to meet the YouTubers wearing Gymshark. Ben watched the queue and realized he hadn't just built a clothing brand, he'd built a community. Revenue in 2013, £250,000. Revenue in 2014, £6 million. Revenue in 2015, $20 million. The compound growth of a brand that had become a movement. Nike noticed, Adidas noticed, Under Armour noticed. The biggest sportswear companies in the world were watching a kid from Birmingham eat their market share. And they couldn't figure out how. The acquisition offers started coming in. Private equity firms, strategic buyers. Everyone wanted a piece of what Ben had built. he said no to all of them. He was asked why he kept saying no. He said, "I'm not building Gymshark to sell it. I'm building it to be the best. Those are different goals and they require different decisions." Then in 2016, they lost the majority of their inventory in a warehouse fire. Hundreds of thousands of pounds of stock gone. Black Friday was 2 weeks away, their biggest sales day of the year. Ben emailed his entire customer base and told them the truth, explained what happened, asked for their patience. The response, an outpouring of support. Pre-orders went up. By 2020, Gymshark had revenue of over £260 million, a team of hundreds of people, and still not a single penny of outside investment. Then General Atlantic, one of the world's most respected growth equity firms, came with a different kind of offer. Not an acquisition, a minority stake. They valued Gymshark at $1.45 billion. It was not a sale. Ben retained majority ownership. He brought in a strategic partner with global reach without giving up control of the brand he'd built in a garage. He was 28 years old. He had just become one of the youngest self-made billionaires in British history, and he still shopped at Aldi. In 2021, he made an unusual decision. He stepped down as CEO, not to exit, but because he recognized that scaling from 1 billion to 10 billion required a different kind of leader than the one who scaled from a garage to 1 billion. He became Chief Brand Officer, focused on what he'd always been best at: the product, the community, the culture. He knew what he was good at and what he wasn't. Today, Gymshark is in more than 180 countries, over 5 million customers, one of the fastest growing fitness brands on earth, built without a single outside investor for the first 8 years. Most people focus on the sewing machine and the garage. That's not the real story. The real story is 3 decisions Ben made that most founders never make. Decision 1, he chose community over customers. Gymshark didn't sell to fitness people, it became part of the fitness community. That's why people wore it like a badge, not just a product. Decision 2, he reinvested everything. No luxuries, no early exits, no big founder salary for years. Every pound the company made went back into making it better. Decision 3, he refused to sell when it wasn't right. Every no to an acquisition was a yes to the long-term vision. The patience to wait for the right deal rather than the first deal. Most founders are trying to build something to sell. Ben was trying to build something to be proud of. The money followed the pride, not the other way around. He started with £1,200, one sewing machine, a YouTube tutorial, and a job delivering pizzas to fund the dream while he built it. Nike and Adidas had billions in resources, distribution networks, design teams, retail relationships. Ben had none of that. What he had was a deeper understanding of his customer than they could ever buy. The fitness industry laughed when they heard about a teenager making gymwear in a garage. Then they started paying attention. Then they started copying his playbook. Every night he came home from delivering pizzas and went back to the garage. Not because he had to, because he was building something he believed in. That's the difference between a job and a mission. £1,200, a sewing machine, a pizza job, and the absolute refusal to deliver pizzas forever. Every empire started with nothing. What are you building from zero?